If you're watching this video, you've just purchased the UNIT9 Compact Training Pistol. We recommend that you watch this video in its entirety before using the system. In this video, you'll learn how to load the system, how to unload it, and best practices for use. So let's get into it. First of all, how do you load the UNIT9 Compact? If you're familiar with the Unit 4, the magazine design on the Unit 9 is slightly different. Where the Unit 4 is a lever action puncture to get the CO2 punctured and sealed, in the Unit 9 magazine, you're actually going to have a threading cartridge. And so we're going to walk through the steps to replace the threaded cartridge, as well as how to load the rounds. So the first step, and what's represented here, is a magazine that has been fully consumed with all 15 rounds fired. At the end, you'll have your follower fully protracted here. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to take your thumb and you're going to slide that follower down until it locks into this position at the bottom of the magazine. This is really important because the next step, you're going to have to slide this locking tab and you're going to twist to take the two halves and separate them. When you do that motion, if you have the follower all the way at the top like it was before, you'll end up bending the spring and it can cause, some malfunctions downstream. So always make sure you've got the follower locked at the bottom of the magazine. At this point, you have the two halves. If you're familiar with the Unit 4, you might be familiar with the T-Pack ammo cartridges. With the Unit 9, there is no ammo cartridge. And so what you need to feed the system is really just the gas, and then it's these tubes of rounds. And so the CO2 cylinder is an 8-gram thread-in cylinder. Looks like this. The rounds are going to come packaged similar to the value packs. If you're familiar with the Unit 4, there's 30 rounds in this tube here. And so the magazine holds 15 rounds. You would be able to load this magazine 2 times with one tube. And so the first step to load the magazine is you're going to thread in the cartridge. And so what you want to do here is just start to thread until you feel a point of resistance. Whenever you feel some light resistance, you're going to get to the point where you're going to thread right through the seal. And so you might hear some gas expel, you might even see it. Just thread through it really quickly and make sure it's fully seated. You may have been able to hear that on camera there. I have twisted this as far as I can in a clockwise motion to get it fully seated. At this point, this is under pressure. This gas is fully seated. I know it's under pressure. If I hit the main poppet here, I'll feel resistance. So now we get into the round loading. The rounds load directly into the top half of the magazine. And what I'm going to attempt to do on camera here is to take them from this tube and load them directly into the magazine without spilling them. And so they will stack in sort of in every other orientation until you've got 15 rounds into your magazine. If you have a round that's proud and it's protruding outside the top half of the magazine, that would be your 16th round, and you're going to want to remove that. Now, at this point, you're just going to want to put the magazine back together. And so to do that, you're just sliding your bottom half over the CO2 cylinder, and you're twisting and getting this locking tab back into place. This locking tab ensures that the magazine remains intact. If you were ever to drop this in a training environment, it's not going to split into multiple pieces. It should all stay together as one piece. At this point, the last step here is on the bottom of the magazine. There is this magazine guard here, and if you push it in and you use your finger, you can release the follower. What I just did there was release the follower spring. It's now feeding these rounds in an upward motion. One feature of the Unit 9 Compact Training Pistol that's substantially different than the Unit 4 is that you can actually maximize the CO2 usage with the Unit 9 magazine. So if you're familiar with the Unit 4, after you have all 30 rounds fired, you'll open the draw latch on the side. Any remaining gas is going to expel, and you'll then have to replace it. With the Unit 9, because of the design of the magazine, because there is no T-Pack cartridge, you can actually get more than 15 rounds of full energy from one 8-gram CO2 cylinder. And so what I've simulated now is a magazine that still has CO2 in it, but it's gotten through a full 15-round stack. And I want to show you how we recommend that you reload an additional 10 rounds in it if you prefer to get the full energy and the full value of an 8-gram cylinder. So when you're replacing the gas, as I've shown you already, you can split the two halves and thread in the cylinder. When you're not replacing the gas and you're just looking to reload rounds, an easier method to do that is going to be to manually manipulate this follower here with your finger and just top feed it with some loose rounds here. So what I've got here in this tray of rounds, I'm just going to demonstrate. I'm just dragging this follower with my thumb, and it's opening up enough space for me to load in 10 rounds. After shot 25, will the system still operate? More than likely, yes, it will. Now, what we can't guarantee is on trigger pull 30 that your slide will lock to the rear, right? On shot 25, if you've just reloaded 10 rounds into this and your trigger pull 25 is, basically this 10 rounds out of a 15 full round stack, your slide should absolutely lock to the rear. So this is how you load it, the magazine. If you've got CO2 remaining and you don't want to split it in half, this is the recommended procedure. One additional note, one reason that we recommend this way as well is because of the marking rounds. As you can imagine, if you were just going to load a half of a magazine with the follower fully locked at the bottom, once released, it could move upward with a high velocity and you could rupture the marking rounds. And so the best way to do it is just dragging this here with your finger, opening up enough space to insert the rounds, and then you can reload this into the Unit 9 and you can keep on training.
All right, so now we're going to cover the proper loading and unloading procedures for the Unit 9 Compact. The loading and unloading procedures are going to be identical to what you would do with your live pistol, right? Being a training platform for professionals, these are free reps. What we do with our Unit 9 Compact is going to carry over to what we do when we're using our real pistol. So we want to treat this like it's real. So first thing you're going to do for loading the Unit 9, you're going to lock your slide to the rear, do your 3-point safety inspection to make sure that there's nothing in here that might cause a malfunction. You're going to take your magazine, insert it into the Unit 9. Then you're going to watch as you hit your slide release, you're going to watch that round chamber. Something to note, a lot of guys like to do a press check on their real pistol. On the Unit 9 Compact, we recommend that you do not do a press check because even that little bit of pulling it back can end up seating another round because they're small 8mm spherical projectiles. All right, so that's how you load the Unit 9 Compact. So unloading the Unit 9 Compact, we're going to go over two ways to do that, right? So the slide is not locked to the rear. We still have rounds in here. What you're going to want to do is drop the source of feed, remove that magazine. Then you're going to lock the slide to the rear. You're going to do that 3-point safety inspection. I was able to see the projectile fell out of the bottom when I locked that back. You're going to send that slide forward. You're going to point the weapon in a safe direction and squeeze that trigger. And it's a free rep for dry fire, right? So now we know that this is safe. Of course, when this is removed, this will never fire. The gas is in the magazine. And the reason that I like to still point it safe direction and squeeze that trigger is because it's something that I would do with my real pistol. And these are free reps. What we do here is going to carry over to the real thing. All right. So the other way to unload this is you've shot all of your rounds here. I'm going to insert this for demonstration purposes. Slide locks to the rear after you've shot all 15 rounds. Same thing, gonna drop your source of feed, set that aside, do the 3-point safety inspection, send that slide forward, point the weapon in a safe direction, and take a well-aimed shot. Now we know that this is cleared and safe. All right, there you have it. That's how you load and unload the Unit 9 Compact. Remember, this is a training tool, so let's treat it like a real firearm so that all the habits we build and create on our training platform carries over to the real thing. All right, so now for breaking down the Unit 9 Compact so that you can clean it. What you're gonna wanna do is pull this slide to the rear, hold these pins down on the side, and then you can separate the slide with the frame. So set the frame aside. To disassemble this, it's just like a pistol. We're going to remove this spring and guy rod, set that aside. Then we are going to take our barrel out, and there we have it. That's all it takes. You can take a microfiber cloth, wipe down the exterior. You can use a Q-tip to get in some of those nooks and crannies if you need to, if there's a little little bit of paint like there is on this one. And then something nice that also comes with your Unit 9 Compact is this little bore snake, barrel snake for this thing. So what you're going to want to do, we want to pull that paint from the rear of the bolt outward. Just kind of pull all that paint towards the front. So we drop that down, and then we're just going to pull that through, and this little kind of rubber piece is going to pull any sort of residue out. And on this, you can see it actually pulled out some of that paint. You can run that through a couple of times if you want. But even that one looks really good. So same thing, we'll wipe down everything else. The spring, get inside this slide here, just kind of wipe stuff down with this cloth. We don't have a lot to do because we don't have to worry about carbon buildup like we would with our real pistol. And then even take the frame and just kind of around some of these touch points, make sure there's no paint, debris, anything like that. All right, so putting it back together, it's the same way we took it apart, just in reverse. Slide that barrel in, put our guide rod in, and then we're going to marry up the slide and the frame and slide it all the way back and do a functions check. We're going to point this in a safe direction, take a well-aimed shot, free dry fire wrap right there. And there you have it. That's how you break down the UNIT9 Compact so that you can clean it. Breaks down very similarly to a lot of real pistols that you might have.
Okay, guys, so there you have it. Everything you need to know to get started with the UNIT9 Compact Training Pistol. When you guys are out there training, please, please, please feel free to tag us on social media. We're very active on Instagram at unit.solutions, and we enjoy collaborating with all of our customers. So as you guys put content out, add us as collaborators. We'd love to amplify the message and spread the awareness for our products and how they're transforming what's possible in a non-lethal training environment.